Hey y'all, it's Dr. Boyce, and recently we've seen a lot of conversation going on about AI in education, right? I think as things have become more mainstream, like Chat GPT, and people have started to tinker and get familiar with generative AI tools, we start to have this debate in schools about is it good or is it bad? You know what I mean? Like, is it a blessing or a curse for education? And so the truth is, when you think about school districts like New York City's public schools, last year they both outlawed ChatGPT altogether with their rules. And then in the same year, walked back on that a little bit and said, we're going to take a more innovative approach to start seeing how we can be more strategic as a district to implement AI. And we're talking about the largest school district in the country, right? So it's important for us to consider when we're thinking about AI in education. I like to harken back to the 90s and the 2000s. If you were a student in schools, you may remember as the internet was starting to make its way into popularity, there was also a lot of pushback. There was also a slow move to progress and get devices into students' hands too much. A lot of people wanted to say, like, let's try to keep that to after school time, the internet stuff. Now you'll be hard pressed to go into a school anywhere in this country where the internet isn't making everything go from parental communications to grade books and all of these things that are keeping our schools moving, right? And so it's important for us to consider as we move forward, AI is going to be the same thing. I mean, think about it. Right now, we have people, especially on the West Coast, that are a little more progressive about implementing new technologies, but our pace is what's going to be the difference between our teachers and our students being able to keep up with technological advances, right? We know that these digital divides that happen to impact students of color and students in historically marginalized communities more so than any other group if we just keep it real, right? So we have to be mindful that as we consider how to move forward with integrating AI into schools, what does that look like for our teachers? What does that look like for our students? That we keep front of mind that we have to keep pace with progress. We can't say to ourselves, will we integrate AI or not? We have to say, how will we go about integrating it in a way that is strategic and systemic, such that we make sure that students of color, especially those in marginalized communities, don't get left behind as we see these big pushes in education. And so it's so important for us to consider a couple of things. One thing is that teachers are already burnt out. Anything that we can put in their hands, any other tools we can put in their toolkit that is going to expedite their ability to do administrative tasks, planning, executing their job responsibilities. We want to see about how to get that quickly from theory to practice in teachers' hands in classrooms. The second thing is there's this really big pushback around AI replacing teachers. And it's like the truth is AI can't replace teachers, right? AI is a tool. I like to think of it in the way of if I was to put in a maintenance request and a maintenance man was to show up with his tool belt and a power drill, right? In my mind, I'm thinking to myself, that's exactly what I want, a professional to show up with the tools that they need to get the job done efficiently and quickly. But if I think about a 10-year-old coming around the corner with the power drill, the terror is given 100, right? Because a good tool in the hands of a professional or amateur is going to be the difference between the outcome that you get. And so it's important for us to consider, how do we make teachers professionals in this regard? What kind of training do they need? What kind of supports do they need? Because we know that teachers are already burnt out and overworked a lot of times in schools. And we know that AI cannot replace teachers. So as we move forward, it's important for us to understand how we approach implementation to AI is the difference between if it'll be a blessing or a curse.